show you how to be strong. Come on, follow me. Heard you looking for a hero. Well, look up. No more running from the bad guy. I'ma stare him in the eye like, what's up? I know the journey got hard for a minute, but I ain't giving this up. Yeah, I got the heart of a champion. If I get knocked down, I get.
Hello, guys. Welcome to Insights of a Survivor. This is a special edition with a special guest, Miss Klare. She is coming to us all the way from the other side of the pond. So we had to make some adjustments for time because she's a special lady who deserves special attention, and we're going to show her some special love. Now, as before, I don't understand why, but this time again, you can't see me, but I am still here, giving you all the love, giving you all the, all the positive energy, positive vibes. But what I am going to do is also always start with a trigger warning. All of our episodes talk about, domestic violence or some type of trauma that could cause you to be triggered. It could be anything, physical violence, emotional violence, medical violence, whatever it is. If you feel triggered at any point, please, 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 please don't forget to take care of yourself. If that means you have to walk away, come back, take a breath, do some groundwork, we're here to support your goal and your journey. But without further ado, I'm going to introduce. This is going to be a quick one because this week has been weird, but we're going to make sure that we get her seen, and we're going to call her back on here.
It looks like we might be having a technical problem because I can't hear you, PJ.
You know what? That was what the problem was. I didn't have myself on. Ha ha. That is so my fault. For some reason, it cut me off, Klare. I'm so sorry. Thank you so much for being patient. We're just having this. We're having a day, aren't we? First time 15.
It's one of those weeks. It's fine.
It has been. Thankfully, I checked my email because I'm sitting here like, where's Miss Klare? And then I said, let me check and see. And it's like, hey, I don't have the link. Oh my goodness, PJ, what is wrong with you? So forgive us, you guys. Miss Klare, I want you to go ahead and please introduce yourself and kind of give us a little idea of who you are and what it is that you do.
Okay, so thank you very much for having me. It's really nice to be talking to you again. So my name is Klare. I am a survivor and a thriver of domestic abuse. Mine was from, it was from two situations, from a 10-year relationship that I went through, romantic. Not that romantic, it turns out, but it was supposed to be. But during my journey of healing, I also kind of figured out that my childhood had been pretty much the same, but it had just become so normalized that I didn't realize what it was until healing from the second bout. However, I did do the healing journey. It took me a very long time, and it was very hard. Didn't have an awful lot of help, and during that journey I essentially went on the route to becoming training as a therapist myself. And I now work as a counsellor and a coach, and also an eye movement therapist, with predominantly women post domestic abuse and post domestic violence. So it's come around a full circle. However, when I was in recovery, there was very little help. It either wasn't available, it wasn't accessible, or it wasn't affordable. So I had to do it all myself with a huge amount of education, self-education. And I just thought, you know what?
Yeah.
We can do better than this. There are too many women out there having to take too long and waste too many years of their life suffering and going through that horrific healing journey.
Right.
And it's not necessary. So I'm on a mission. We do not settle for survivor on my watch. We are always working towards thriver.
I love that. I love that. That is exactly what this community is about. It's about coming together and helping each other understand. And you know what? It's not just in the UK; it's in the US as well. Like when I went through that with my ex-husband, there was nothing, and it's really sad that we have to. But you know what? It's not sad. It just forces us as thrivers, like you said, to come together and create. We're going to push our way in. So, can you tell me a little bit about the You said there were two situations. Can you talk a little bit about how you overcome those situations to become this powerhouse that we see before us today?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'll be honest. So obviously, when I first came out of the domestic abuse, the romantic relationship, the 10-year relationship, probably for 18 months, I was shell shocked. It was the same as if I'd come out of a war zone. I slept a lot, probably drank more than I should have done. I wasn't able to function socially, couldn't sleep, all that kind of stuff. And I think once that kind of initial shock had gone, I then tried to find help. I knew enough. I actually worked in mental health. That's the crazy thing about this. I worked in mental health and still hadn't spotted it because I was right in the kind of the center of the storm. But I did know where to try and access stuff. And then when I tried to access it, I was kind of met with very half-hearted offers of, you can have 6 sessions of CBT. Okay, well, I think I've probably got complex PTSD, so that's not going to work. Nobody seemed to have any specialist knowledge. Actually wanted to expose me to methods of therapy, which I now know would have caused me even more damage. I had a suggestion to do some exposure therapy within 6 sessions. I don't think so. So I'm very curious by nature. I like to learn stuff. So I started reading about trauma, how the brain works, what happens to the body and the brain when it goes through that kind of stuff, learning about the healing process. And it's one of those subjects where the more you know, the more you want to know, and then you discover something else. And I feel we're very much at the tip of the iceberg in regards to understanding trauma, the impact on neurology and that kind of stuff. It's a really exciting time from a recovery and healing point of view, certainly from like psychology and therapy. And it just kind of grew. And my first step was actually to go and train as a coach. I'm a very solution focused person. If somebody's got a problem, I'm not going to be the person that sits there and says, oh, how do you feel about that? Not going to do that. I'm going to say, okay, right, let's look at where we want to be and let's see what we want to do in order to make that journey. So I went through the coaching. I don't think I was quite ready to become a counsellor at that point. Went through the coaching, obviously did lots of coaching with people, but then realised actually when people just come out of trauma, they're very fragile and they really need that safe space where they can be heard and have a voice and start to understand that actually there are still gentle people left in the world who want the best for them. So then I started the hunt for the right college to go to, and I came across this fantastic tutor, fantastic college. Went through my training. I did my placement hours actually with Women's Aid. I'm guessing you'll probably have something similar over there. It's a huge charity that purely supports women that have been through domestic violence. They have refuges and that kind of stuff.
No, they don't have anything like that over there.
Oh gosh,
They
really?
do not.
Wow.
No,
Okay.
we're at the liberty of the nonprofits. If they don't have the fundings, that I've been turned away so many times because they just don't have the fundings to help survivors over there. They don't have any support. They don't even have 6 sessions of CBT. It's like
Oh,
put you on a wait list and call every day to see what we have for you. It's horrible. It's really horrible.
it's the thing is, it's so short-sighted because when you've been through something like that, your ability to contribute to society. Yes, we get up and we function, especially if we're mums. We still get up, we feed the kids, we dress the kids, but your ability to function in society and to add to society is non-existent. And then we have, women who then go on to develop really severe mental health problems, which
Yes.
that costs more money, and they
Yes.
can't work properly, and then we've got the
Right.
ripple effects down to kids, and it's so short-sighted to not
Yes.
invest the money to help these women heal it. I'm
Yes.
not going to
It's
swear, but it makes me really cross.
if you want to swear, damn it, say whatever the hell you need to say. This is a very free
Well,
zone. I'm just,
I
I'm just trying to make you feel comfortable, but I get what you're
it,
saying. It makes you want to
yeah,
just lose your religion basically because of the way that they're treating people who need the most help. And what about the children in those situations? You know,
absolutely. Absolutely. And we know generational trauma is a thing, and it takes, I think, I can't remember the exact figures, but I think it's something like if somebody is healed, as it were, it can take up to like 3 generations for that impact to actually have gone.
I have no idea the figures. That's actually
Yeah,
something I probably should look up because I'm wanting to try to see how to help individuals who struggle with that. So that's actually I'm going to write that down. Thank you.
yeah. Like I say, I need to check the figures, but it's a shockingly long period of time. So the sooner we can get in there, I say every person that I'm able to help, it's a bit like the starfish story. The little boy throwing the single starfish back into the sea. I'm helping that one, but actually the ripples that will then cascade down from that are massive, absolutely massive. And it just boils my shit that there is not the help that should
I mean,
be
I
there.
get it. I get it. Yes, and it's sad. I really love women like you who are brave enough to fight through the trauma that you've gone through and still say, you know what, I'm going to get up and use my pain to make a purpose to help someone else. It's we need to come together and just raise our own money. We're going to try to make some kind of funding or something, but it's just so hard. Not a
Yeah,
lot of people are giving. Not a lot of people are giving, and if we don't go out here and get it ourselves, most of the time we won't. We if unless we're a celebrity and we just happen to have millions just stashed
yeah,
away to the side, there's not really a lot of help out there for people in our situations who want to help each other
yeah,
because it's like we're a family. We're a family, and
yeah.
we have no support. Like you said, when you first got out of this 18 months of drinking and dealing with what you're dealing with, where was your support system? You sound like a lot of my stuff. I didn't have a support system at all as well, and you pulled yourself out. That's the best
Yeah.
and the hardest way to do it. You are definitely a mama bear.
Oh, yes, I am definitely. But I think it's having that ability to take that anger, because that comes at some point once we've gone through all the grief and all that kind of stuff. Then there comes a point where you get angry, and you get angry at yourself, and angry at the person that did it, and angry at the people that didn't support you, and angry at everything. And if you can harness that anger, it can become like rocket fuel to power you through to wherever you want to go. And for me, that was definitely the key in my success. I just became like a dog with a bone. I was like, there's absolutely no way. I was not put on this earth to crawl away into a cave and be scared for the rest of my life. Not doing it. And if I have to stand in the corner and cheerlead and support however many women to do the same
Yes,
again,
yes.
that's what we're doing.
Well, you found someone who's going to stand there. We're going to be cheering. I'll cheer with you.
Yay.
We have to do what we have to do because I mean, what have you noticed in our situations are lacking the most? I know that you said that us with mental health. Mine is in the United States because I moved to Costa Rica. I don't even live there anymore. But in the United States, I feel like everything is lacking: mental health, shelter, stability. Like when I was in my situation with my ex-husband, he was literally beating on me, and they're like, I am so sorry, do you have anywhere to go? And I'm on the phone with them like, no, I have absolutely nowhere to go. And at the time I'm living in Alaska where it snows, so I'm supposed to sleep in the car with 3 kids. So,
Yeah.
where would you say, if you were able to pinpoint where it needs to, where the help needs to start, where would you say, like, okay, this is where we need to start with helping individuals who are struggling in these type of
I mean,
situations?
it can be very challenging. And as we both know, there are many women who are trapped, completely trapped, because they have no access to finances. That's being controlled. They've got nowhere to go. There's no space in refuges. There's no mental health. They're being followed. They've got telephones being monitored. I think when somebody's in that situation, sadly, probably at that stage, there's probably not a lot we can do. But I do think that there comes a tipping point for a lot of people, where a lot of women, where they start to realize that I need to start doing something. So, for example, for me, one of the tipping points for me was I started to record conversations, and I used to get my phone, stick it on voice, just the voice recorder, and I used to stick it under my bra strap, put a really light cardigan over the top, so that I started to build my evidence. It wasn't evidence that went to court. Mine was predominantly coercive. So at that time, there wasn't a coercive control law. It has since changed, although there's virtually no cases going through because it's very hard to do. But I had enough evidence so that when I needed to present it to him, he'd got no argument. I'd got voice messages saying that, yes, I had a gun, and yes, I'd done this, and yes, I'd done that. Then it was a case of, sometimes you have to start thinking about the long game, scraping bits of money together, trying to find people that you trust. It's amazing actually how many people will say, I've got a sofa that you can sleep on. I speak to a lot of women that said, actually, we spent, 4 months sleeping on a sofa, or 6 months sleeping on a sofa. And whilst it might be horrible, you might be leaving a home, you might have to leave pets. I had to leave cats behind. You might be losing everything you've got materialistically. Like we've talked about before, all of that can be replaced. Every single thing can be replaced.
Yes.
But what can't be replaced is you.
Yes.
So if you need to
Yes.
sleep in a car, obviously not in Alaska, but if you,
I mean, you
need to
know
sleep
what?
in a
I
car,
would have. I honestly,
yeah,
I would. I was looking up ways, Googling ways to keep your kids warm in the car.
yeah,
Because I mean, I'd rather
yeah,
sleep in the car with my children than to stay in the home with a guy
yeah,
who could, cause myself physical harm. But again, that also affected my children, and they had to see that. So to keep us all safe,
yeah.
I will sleep in the car in Alaska. Now, would it have been fun? Probably not, but we would have lived.
Absolutely. And I do think this is one thing. I think us women are bloody amazing at being resourceful. When we are pushed, when we're truly
Yes.
pushed into a corner, we can make food from nothing.
Yes.
I remember having to
Yes.
walk along the street and look for coins on the floor because I had no money to buy bread and milk for
Yes.
my kids. But do you know what? I found £1.50, the equivalent of $2, and that was enough at the time for me to get a pint of milk and to get some bread.
And they ate. It may not have been a gourmet meal or something that they're used to you cooking for them, but at that point, where survival mode
Yeah,
kicks in, and you are very right. Real women can be very resilient when it comes to taking care of their children, and I mean, that's what I love about this platform. There's so many of us. I mean, I hope that all of you guys are understanding and seeing the strength that's in this community, because the more people that come on the show, the more that you hear of another woman, and sometimes men. It's
yeah,
not just women, you guys. I will put that out there, but people who are strong enough to get out of these situations. And I hope that you guys find the resilience within yourself, because like Miss Claire, this is my second time speaking with her, and both times I'm just I'm amazed. I'm in awe of her and her strength, you know, because who wants to walk around picking up change
yeah,
off the ground? But we will do it. We will do it, and then use that same energy and love to say, I want to help. I still want to help the community, even though no one was there to help you. That's how you know that there's love in this community, and that's why I am so grateful to have you, Miss Claire, on this show. Thank you so much. I'm sorry, I know I love your
thank
energy,
you.
and I love, this is the second time, and I'm so sorry that this didn't go the
It's
way
fine.
it was expected. You can't see me this time, but I am so happy that I'm able to have you on my show. So Can you tell our audience of any tools or techniques that you used to help you once you were, after that 18 months had passed, what did you do to get yourself in a position to where you can then become a help to yourself so that you can help others?
So it started with some fairly basic stuff. So again, this was after I'd kind of figured out what was going on mechanically and biologically, with the hormones and, you know, the trauma reaction and all of that kind of stuff. So I started with real basic stuff, and it sounds daft, but these things work, and I use them with my clients now. Obviously, self-care. If you can, try and eat as well as you can. If you can, try and make sure that you stay hydrated. People forget that. So our brains use in between 20 and 30% of our calories that we intake every day. When we're under higher stress levels, they use more, like 30%. Now, obviously, that is not an excuse to go and eat extra Snickers, but if a Snicker is all you can get, eat it. If that's all you can manage, eat it. But we need to feed this machine.
We're gonna get one after this episode.
Yeah. Also, another thing as well, try and find things that make you laugh. And I'm talking belly laugh. So that might be people, it might be finding a YouTube video. I would literally sit on YouTube and I would go through videos until I found things that made me belly laugh, because when we laugh, it reduces the stress hormones in our body, it builds up our resilience, it increases our immune system, and it will make you feel better. And it's not just whilst you're laughing, it will be for a few minutes after. So it just gives the body a little bit of a breather from those stress hormones. So we can start to bring, there's something called allostatic load, which is essentially your level of adrenaline and cortisol, which when you go through trauma, it increases, and it never goes back down. So again, laughter just helps to bring that in. So I would do things like that. I would try to get as much sleep as I possibly could. And very often when you come out of trauma, you need an absolute shit ton of sleep. You are recovering and your body and your brain need to heal. So things like that. One of the best quotes I've ever heard, and it's really pushed me through. All these things that we need to do to make us feel better, we very often don't feel like doing them. However, the quote I heard was, on the days you really don't want to, they're the days you really need to. So when you wake up in the morning and you're like, I just don't want to exercise, I don't want to go for a walk, I don't want to hydrate, I don't want to shower, just remind yourself, this is the day that I really don't want to. So this is the day that I really need to. And sometimes it can just help to push through. Also as well, exercise, whatever you can do, whether it's going to the gym, whether it's walking, swimming. If all you can manage is sitting on your chair and shaking your arms and your legs out, again, that movement will help to dispel some of those nasty hormones. It will sort of reduce some of the nervous energy that's going on. So it was really practical, pragmatic stuff that I did in order to start to regain a little bit of control of my body so that I could then start to function. And that's when I really started to do the kind of work with the coaching and stuff like that. There's also, so if we've got any listeners who are a little bit further down the road where they've kind of done the bulk of the healing, but they're still kind of like struggling with triggers and still kind of like, it's not overreacting, but we're reacting to things that happened in the past. Something that I do with my clients, we do some checks basically. So what we'll do is we'll do a check. So we check where our eyebrows are, because when we're stressed, they tend to disappear over the back of our foreheads. We will check our jaws, make sure that that's that it's not tense. Make sure your shoulders are down. Do that on a regular basis through the day, and that will help to start to retrain the brain. I can go into more detail on that on another podcast. So you can actually set alarms on your phone during the day to go off like in between maybe like 10 and 15 times randomly. Don't set the actual noise alarm, but just to have it vibrate. And whether you're stressed or not, when that alarm goes off, we do the checks. So we check the eyebrows, the jaw, the shoulders. Other thing as well is to make sure that your tongue is not stuck to the roof of your mouth. This is another thing we do when we're really stressed. So we just drop the tongue a little bit so that we can just allow that area to relax. Another thing that you can do when we look at like the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system. So the sympathetic is the one that tells your body, get out, run, fight and flight. parasympathetic is the one that tells our bodies just to calm down. You can actually trigger it by rubbing either side of the ear. So I don't know if anybody remembers Spock, and he used to do Spock fingers. You can do it quite casually. You can just sit and casually give it a rub. That will help to trigger the parasympathetic nervous system, which again helps to just reteach the body to relax so that you can reclaim your body basically and get it responding in a more normal way. It does take practice. It is boring. There is nothing glamorous about the recovery journey. It takes commitment, but I promise anybody that's listening, there is light at the end of the tunnel. It's worth putting that time and that energy in. You are worth doing that.
Oh my God, thank you so much, Claire. You know, I actually do the jaw one. I just learned that like 3 days ago. So it's really funny that you said that. She's not lying, you guys. It's like, and you're sitting there, and it's not easy at all. So Miss Claire, is there any way anyone can get a hold of you? Because you have so much knowledge, and I really would hate for us to not have that spread throughout this community.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have got a website, which is lifeaftertrauma.com. I've also got a Facebook page, also Life After Trauma. And I do as well from time to time. So I also do eye movement therapy, which is a really good practice to help people move through big emotions. We can help to process them really, really quickly. And from time to time, I do shout outs where I will offer a couple of those sessions for free. So
thank you so much. See?
Yeah, it's just, it's something that I can do. Unfortunately, I can't afford to work for free. We've all got huge bills to pay these days, but it's something that I can do. We can do a couple of sessions. We can make a big impact. So worth watching the page for when I put those shout outs. They tend to be on a first come, first serve basis. But it's just me trying to carry on helping, because that's what I want to do. I don't want anybody suffering for any longer than they need to.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Miss Claire, for everything. We're going to have to bring her back. Full disclosure, you guys, I was working so much all day. My battery's about to die. I'm not going to lie on air. Miss Claire's trying to rush because she hears me telling her. So I appreciate that. But we got to have her come back for a full hour. I don't want to cheat her out of her time, because I think there's so much more that you can give us with this community. So I'm going to ask you to reschedule again. I know. If I have to wait another month, it's going to be worth the wait.
That's fine.
Want a full hour with you, so that we even longer if necessary. But I would love to have you back to share your story. Thank you so much for being flexible with me, and I don't mind doing it on another Tuesday or Wednesday. However we have to do it, we're going to get you back on this show and get a more in-depth message, because again, she understood my situation, and she thankfully, so sweet, rushed for me. So thank you so much, Miss Claire. Please, I'm gonna email you another link, and we're gonna get you back on here again.
It's always a pleasure. Honestly, it will be an amazing excuse to come and chat with you again. So no apologies needed.
Yes, ma'am. My honor. Thank you so much. You can have a wonderful day, and I will send you that link ASAP.
All right. Lovely. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You take care.
Shit. Oh no, I think I cut her off too soon. I'm so sorry, Miss Claire. You are very loved. Oh my goodness, she is such a powerhouse. I mean, you have no idea. I feel her energy. She's an inspiration to me. And if something today that she said has reached you and reminded you that you're not alone, and that you can rise from what you're going through, please like, share, and subscribe. Because again, I am going to have her on here again, and understand that you are not defined by your pain. You're defined by who you are inside. You have the ability to grow. You have the ability to rise. Every single scar that you have, you can survive.